Hello guys, welcome back again to my segment. And of course, by the way, my name is Teacher Darrell, and today we will talk about reporting people's words and thoughts. So, commonly, the grammar rule here is about reported speech. So, we'll talk more about how to properly use reported speech in our sentence and what are the rules that we should follow whenever we want to do reported speech. Okay, are you ready? Now, let's start. So, commonly, for some cases, guys, we usually report or say what other people mention to us. So somehow, it's also important that we should really know how to properly use reported speech in our sentence. So we will learn more deeper as we continue with our lesson. Okay, so here we have the structure for people's words and thoughts. So it means these are the structures. Whenever we want to have some reported speech, there are two clauses for this part. We have reporting clause, and there one we call it one as reported clause. So there are two. We have two clauses here, but somehow, yeah, they're kind of it has different structure. And here for reporting clause, first of all we have she explained, and we have that, or sometimes we can also remove that in our sentence. She could not take the job until January. So as you notice, for the reporting clause, we only have subject and verb there. And then for the reported clause, we have that and subject plus verb in our sentence. But somehow we also have different patterns whenever we want to do reported clauses. And here we have he didn't tell me where I could put this. Commonly, guys, for some cases, we have WH. We use WH in the reported clause part, and sometimes we can use where, who, any kind of WH clauses sometimes. And here, if we want to use WH clauses, we follow the subject plus verb. And if you notice, most of the verb in the reported speech are all in past form. So we cannot use will, we cannot use can, we cannot use any present form of the verb. Instead, we use only the past form of all the verbs. So keep that in mind. Whenever you want to do reported speech, make that into the past form. Here, they said if the exact words are important, we might report the actual words someone said. So if you think the exact words are really important and you want to say what the person said exactly, then it's possible that you can report the actual word that this person says. So in writing, this is done in quotation. So only for writing we do this, but for speaking, yeah, somehow we don't. Because for speaking, we just pick what the words that this person actually say. But for writing, quotations are really important. Okay, for example, I suppose you've heard the latest news, she said to me. So if you notice here, we have the quotation here, quotation here. So this is the exact word that this person said. And here we have comma. And then we have she said to me. So it means I'm the one who is talking to I'm the one who told this person, and just I wanted to repeat what did this person exactly said. So we call this one as the exact words for reporting. Of course, Carter replied, you'll have to pay him to do the job. It's also the exact words that this person said. Okay, so it's also one of the possible ways, but commonly we can see this kind of pattern in reading books sometimes, or in novels. It's in novels, yeah, we can see these quotations that this person said, but in a way, for reported speech, it can be different. Okay, on the next part here. So how about if our sentence has negatives? So when we do reported speech with negative sentence, then we can say that we made reporting verbs negative sometimes. Here, for example, we had a direct speech. How would you get to London? So it means maybe this person, I asked this person, Oh, how would you get to London? But this person didn't tell me, okay, about his answer. So here, to report what somebody didn't say or think about my question, then I make the reporting verb negative. So here, this is my reporting verb. We have here didn't tell me. So the reported speech here is he didn't tell me how he would get to London. So here, if you notice, we have negative for didn't, and then afterwards we have would get. Yes, so would get, right? Okay, so sometimes it's all in negative. And if you notice also, for after how, here how and how, after how is followed by subject and verb, right? But here for direct speech, we use how, modal, subject, and followed by main verb. So sometimes this is the direct speech, but in the reported speech, it followed the statement pattern or the statement rule. Even though the question was, with the sentence was a question form in the direct speech, but in the reported speech, it became like a statement form. That's why we follow the pattern like subject plus verb in the reported speech. And if we want to report a negative sentence, then we usually report this in the reported clause. Okay, again, in our reported speech, there are two types of clauses: reporting clause and reported clause. So for reported clause, we can see that in the beginning part of the reported speech, and reported clause, we can see that in the second part or the end part of the reported speech. So do not be confused about one. So here, if we want to report again a negative sentence, then we usually report this in the reported clause. For example, here we have the direct speech. You're right, it isn't a good idea. So this is correct, the exact word the person said. But if you want to mention the exact word that this person said, okay, we can also use reported speech pattern here. For reported speech, we can say he agreed that. Now we have that here in this clause. Oh, sometimes guys, we can also remove that. You can also omit that if you want. But if you want to make your sentence longer for reported speech, then you can also put that if you want. So you can say here, he agreed that it wasn't a good idea. So if you notice here, in a more direct speech, we have isn't here, right? Okay, and then in the reported speech, it becomes wasn't. And the word wasn't here for the negative sentence. Remember, it can be seen in reported clause, not in the reporting clause. Our reporting clause again here is he agreed. Okay, that is our reporting clause. And then we have that it wasn't a good idea. This is our reported clause. So here, the negative part or the negative sentence becomes the wasn't here in the reported clause. Our example, I disagree. It's not a good idea at all. So here about disagree, so about is also negative, right? Okay, and if you want to make it into a reported speech, you can say he didn't agree that it was a good idea. So here, from the word disagree, we changed that into agree, but we added didn't in this sentence. So it means it's also possible that we can put our negative sentence in the reporting clause, but make sure you should not have double negatives for each clauses. For each clause, I mean, if one clause is negative, then the other one will be positive. If the one clause is positive, then the other one should be also in negative. It should be vice versa. So here, he didn't agree, it's negative, that it was a good idea. So as you notice, their negative sentence are changing from each clauses. That's why you cannot do double negative in the clauses, because it might give a different meaning. So you need to be careful about this reporting in negative sentence. Okay. However, guys, with some verbs, to report a negative sentence, we usually make the verb in the reporting clause negative. Oh, yeah. Also for this case, reporting clause is also means negative sometimes. Here, for direct speech, I expect he won't come, or I didn't expect he will come. For our reported speech, she didn't expect him to come. So here, if you notice, we have this one, she didn't expect him to come, is or in negative, and we can find this in the reporting clause. It is a similar rule with the second example here actually, and here we have she didn't expect him to come. And if you want to do this kind of negatives and reporting, then we have this verb sometimes. We have believe, feel, intend, plan, propose, suppose, think, and want. So that's the clue there on how we do direct speech and reported speech for negative sentence. Okay, more ideas here for reporting questions. Okay, how about if your direct speech is in question form? How can we do that in reported speech? So here, if we want to report a WH question, then we should use a reporting clause with a WH word. So it means WH word should be found in the reporting clause. Okay, again, so reporting clause here, for example, what is a problem? That is direct speech. And the reported speech here, she asked me what the problem was. So we have the what here, right? So it is found in the reporting clause. Or maybe reporting clause here, okay. And if you notice here, what is a problem? We have what here followed by is, but what happened in the reported speech? After what is followed by problem, and then we can find the linking verb after the problem. Unlike here in the direct speech, what followed by linking verb and followed by the word problem. But here, she asked me what the problem was. So the linking verb was moved in the last part of the sentence. So it's also, we can really do that. But in some books, I have seen that you can say she asked me what was the problem. Okay, it's also possible, but I think this one is better because it's safer if we always do like this, because in some cases there are different rules and people usually get confused. If you follow different kinds of rules, then that's why you need to be careful whenever you want to use this kind of pattern for WH clauses. So if you have a linking verb there, try to put it in the last part to be safe. And also, to report a WH question, we use our reporting clause with the WH word. Again, so we can find it in the WH word for the reporting clause. Here we have for the direct speech, where will we go next? Here we have the word where as our WH word, and for the reported speech, I ask him where we will go next. So as you notice again, what is same pattern, right? After the WH is followed by subject here, then followed by the verb. But for the direct speech, it is WH, will, subject, and base form the verb. So that's why for reported speech, the structures or the pattern becomes different. So you need to be careful with that kind of pattern. And how about if our question is a yes or no question? Then if it's yes or no question, we use a reporting clause followed by a clause beginning with either if or whether. So here in the first part is about WH question. But now this one is about yes or no question. For yes or no question, if you want to make your sentence better for the reporting speech, then you can use if or whether in our reported speech. For example, we have for the speech, Liz asks, do we have any photos of our holiday? Now, here, this question is a yes or no question, right? And if you want to do this into reported speech, we can say Liz wanted to know if or whether. You can use either two. You can use if, you can use whether. Just choose either one of them. We had any photos of our holiday. So here, after if plus whether is followed by subject plus verb again. And here, if you notice, we have do and have, right? But for reported speech, what happened? It becomes had only. So we don't really add the do forms of the verb. So we just follow like the past of the word have to be safe in doing our reported speech. So one more time, we can say Liz wanted to know if or whether we had any photos of our holiday. And also remember, for direct speech we have comma here, but for reported speech, a comma, question mark we have question mark here, but for the reported speech, the question mark is gone. So we only use a statement in reported speech. We only use a period in this part. Okay. And the usual word order in WH, if or whether clause is the one we would use in a statement. Okay. Commonly for statement, when you say statement here, it talks about the reported speech. For example, we have the direct speech. Have you seen Paul recently? So our question here is also yes or no, right? Because it's about have you seen Paul recently is answerable by yes or no. And for its reported speech, she wanted to know if or whether I had seen Paul recently. So again, after if or whether here, we can use subject plus verb in our sentence. So whether, subject plus verb. Okay. And also, we have here, if the original question begins with what, which, or who, followed by be plus complement. When we say be plus complement, be form or be verbs, followed by complement, like any kind of complements, like it could be noun or it could be adjective for our complements. So we can put the complement before or after be in the report. So for example, we have the sentence, direct speech is, who was the winner? In our sentence here, it starts with who, right? So, and followed by be verb, was here, and then followed by the winner. So the winner here is our complement. So this one is a noun complement, actually, because it complements the word who, actually, the sentence. And if you want to do reported speech or change this into reported speech, we can say, I asked who the winner was. So if you notice, we have who. So after your first clause, I ask, then followed by who here, who, then followed by your complement, and followed by your be form. Or you can also say, I ask who was the winner. It's also possible, guys. But somehow, to be safe, I told you earlier that it would be better if you put the word was after the complement in reported speech, or the be form after the complements, to be safe. Because it's also possible we can say I ask who was the winner. Yeah, it's also okay. But maybe in my case, I want to say I asked who the winner was. This one is better for me. So yeah, it's up to you actually. And here for reporting questions, we don't use form of do in the WH or if or whether clause. So it means if our direct speech has do forms or do verbs, and if you want to change that into reported speech, then we'll need to put the do form there. Okay, for example, for direct speech, where did you find it? Now in this sentence, our do form here is the did, right? And then we have the main verb as find in the sentence. We have did here and we have find here. Now, if you want to change that into reported speech, you can say, she asked me. Okay, so I want to put an object there. She asked me where I found it. Now, if you notice, we have the word did find. We don't need to put did anymore here in our sentence. Then we just want to get the past form of find, then we can say found in our reported speech. So if you notice, again, most of the verbs that we can see from the reported speech are all in past. Okay, so we can say I can, will, does, do, sometimes completely they're past. Why? Because when you say reported speech, the action has been finished and you just wanted to report or give an idea or to relay the message to someone, but the situation was already finished. That's why we should express our reported speech in the past form. Okay. And also we have here, if we are reporting a negative question, you can use but however, there's also exemptions here. Okay, we have exemptions. If we are reporting a negative question, now this time, guys, the first one has a negative question. Okay, but here the previous one, there is no negative question in direct speech. What if now your direct speech has a negative question? For example, we can say like Ben asked, why didn't you want anything to eat? Okay, that is your direct speech. And if you notice here, we have the negative form of do, which is didn't, in the past form. And if we want to change this into reported speech, we can say he asked me. Okay, I want to write an object there. The receiver, it's me. Why I didn't want anything to eat. So here, we need to put the negative form and of the verb in the other clause. So if it's negative question, then we should follow or use the negative form of do in the reported speech. Again, so if the form of the do in the direct speech is only positive, then we just omit the forms of do and we will just get the past form of the main verb, right? So for example, again, we have direct speech. Where did you find it? Reported speech. She asked me where I found it. So the word there is found. So it's the past form of find. But if it's negative question for direct speech, then you need to really use the negative form of do in the reported speech. So you can say for direct speech, Ben asked, why didn't you want anything to eat? For reported speech, he asked me why I didn't want anything to eat. Okay, is it clear? Sometimes it's kind of confusing, right? Because sometimes if you do the reported speech, they have a lot of rules to follow. Okay, one more time for our short review. Again, we do reported speech if we want to say or mention or deliver a message to someone. And remember, this action or situation happened in the past. And if this action happened in the past, your reported speech should be all in simple past. Your verb there should be also in simple past. And also, for our structures, we have reporting clause is the first part, and the reported clause in the second part of the reported speech. So there are two clauses, I believe. Yeah, you can use the exact words the person mentioned or said to you if you think that it is really important. Okay. And if our reported speech, if we didn't really get the answer from the someone that we asked a question to, then we can make our reported speech into negative form and we can find it in reporting verb. Okay, so we can say how he didn't tell me how he would get to London. Okay, in this sentence. And if we want to report a negative sentence, then we should report this in a reported clause. Okay, so it means it should be in reported clause if our sentence is a negative one, right? Okay, so you can see here we have, "You're right, it isn't a good idea." He agreed that it wasn't a good idea. And however, with some verbs to report a negative sentence, we usually make the verb in the reporting clause negative. So this one, you can put also the negative form of the sentence in the reporting clause. But there are some exemptions. You need to be careful with the verb that you want to use. So for this kind of pattern, we use the verbs like believe, feel, intend, plan, propose, suppose, think, want, and expect. For WH, if you use WH question for reported speech, then we should follow the actual pattern for a statement like WH plus subject plus verb in our sentence. Like, for example, again, for the speech, what is the problem? But for reported speech, she asked me what the problem was. It's the same. And if it's yes or no question, remember, you can add if or whether whenever if the direct speech is answerable by yes or no. For reported speech here, Liz wanted to know if or whether we had any photos of our holiday. Oh, okay. I think that's all the important parts of reported speech. Okay, I think, guys, that's all for today. My topic about reported speech is done, and I hope you have learned something. Some parts can be confusing, but if you want to discuss this one further, then tomorrow I will add more topics about reported speech, and I will try to deliver my lessons more specifically next time, okay? Because this is only like the introduction of reported speech, but by tomorrow's part, I will try to make it concise, precise, or specific, okay? Anyway, that's all for today for my segment, and I hope you learned something. See you again next time. My name is Daro, and have a great day.